There are three things that are consistent in life: death, taxes, and the Bills beating the Chiefs in the regular season, but losing to them in the playoffs.
Welcome back, everybody, to the James and Dame Show. I'm Will James.
I'm Josiah Damas.
And this is going to be the Week 11 preview. We're already at Week 11. It's kind of crazy, kind of ridiculous.
Now I can't count it on my fingers anymore.
I no longer have my fingers. Yeah, so we're going to go, obviously, through the games, make our picks. And speaking of picks, yes, you can still join our pick'em, even though we are well into the season. I try to keep track of who does how well each week. So speaking on that, looking at some of the leaderboards, as I mentioned, I am now tied with Josiah and Jay Newingcats in first. We're all the three of us are at 91 and 61. I beat them last week by one. Well, I beat you by one game.
Yeah.
Tied with Jay Newingcats.
Yeah.
But this week, actually, the person with the best record goes to JJ 4 Days, also known as Jason. You know who you are. But we love the extra people competing. And so, obviously, again, link is in the description. Go join and compete with us. We always invite more competition. But we'll get into our picks for this week, starting with a game I'm actually really excited for, an NFC matchup, NFC East.
And it's
matchup.
actually a good Thursday night game.
I mean, we had Bengals-Ravens last week, but
Besides that,
we got the Commanders visiting the Eagles. Eagles just took the division, coming off of a strong win over the Cowboys, while the Commanders are coming off of a pretty tough loss against a good Steelers team. Where are you feeling with this one?
I think this is going to be a rough stretch for the Commanders because losing to the Steelers is one thing, but a division rival specifically is a little difficult to be consistent. Yes, they are 5-1, I believe, in division matchups. No.
Well, that wouldn't make sense.
No, that wouldn't
Be
make
6
sense.
matches.
What do I saw then?
Conference?
It might have been conference. Yeah, I was conference. Never mind. I was looking at conference. Anyways, Commanders, the Eagles are competing for that division lead, so it's going to be kind of a bloodbath. I'm going to be completely honest. I am going to go with the Eagles because that make the division a little interesting. Two, if the Eagles want to get into my top 10, they're going to have to beat the Commanders this week, and I think this is the week to do it. And I think the Eagles will be joining everyone in the top 10.
This is a game that I thought was there's a lot of games that could be really interesting for different reasons. This one, again, it's two top 10 teams in my opinion. You got a Eagles team that has been winning even though they haven't been playing complete football, and then a Commanders team that has been playing pretty complete football. And just, obviously, again, a new team, really, as far as roster and coaching staff. The Eagles, very strong run game.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they have some issues. They've not really put everything together quite yet. And the Commanders, coming off of a sloppy loss with a lot of mistakes, but still kept it close. I'm going with the Commanders because I think for the Eagles, one of two things has to happen, I think, in the case of the Eagles winning. Either the Eagles have to play a complete game, or the Commanders need to be just as sloppy as they were last week. I think if the Commanders get back, put last week aside and play the way they have the rest of the season, and the Eagles continue to not play complete football with mistakes and just discontinuity, I think this is kind of the Commanders' game to win. So I'm going with it, especially just because of how the Commanders are consistently really good at playing the Eagles close, even when they were bad. So
Indeed.
I like their chances.
I think that the difference is going to be, will the Commanders stop Saquon Barkley? I think that would be one of the major points highlighted in this game, mostly because Barkley, he puts on his big boy pants and carries the Eagles team to victory. That's
He,
all that's been happening so far.
he often does do that.
So I would not be surprised if Barkley does that here again. So
I wouldn't either. He's
Also-
familiar with the East. So.
yeah, I was about to say Barkley is very familiar with all teams in the East. So
All right. Well,
moving on.
we'll get on to the Sunday slate of games, starting with the Packers visiting the Bears. Packers coming off of a bye week, so they're going to be nice and fresh. Give Jordan Love an extra week to recover from that groin injury. We'll see if he is fully recovered. As when they played against the Lions, I don't really think he was.
No.
And then there's the Bears, who ugly loss to the Patriots.
Aye, aye,
But
aye.
you just fired Shane Waldron, and you're really hoping that fixes your issues. I think there's quite a few issues on the offensive side and I think offensive coordinator, good place to start as far as moving on.
Next to go for the head coach.
Yeah, if things continue. But I have a feeling I know where you're going to go with this one, but I'll let you confirm that for me.
I own you. I still own you. Packers.
I mean, he's not there, but that is a good point. I'm also going Packers just because Packers are playing complete football, maybe not like top tier football, but
But they are
complete.
still a good football team.
Bears, they're just inconsistent on offense. And you know what? I'm at a point where I'm like kind of, you know what? I kind of called it from earlier this year where it's like winning games, it's like, why are they winning this? And then losing a game to the Patriots because why?
Why not? Yeah.
But
So-
they're inconsistent as hell, and especially on that offense because they never can be. But because they're inconsistent, they could win this game, and I can't be surprised because it's the Bears and their offense, and I know they have talent.
They don't know how
don't
to
know.
use it.
Yeah. So we'll see if they put things together. I'm gonna stick with the Packers just because
Me.
Packers have owned them, and
Yeah.
yeah. So
Staying in the north, however, we got the Lions hosting the Jaguars. The Lions, even as sloppy as last week has been, the Lions are still not only the kings in the north currently, they are probably the best football team in my opinion. Well-rounded football team, most consistent as well. Yeah, there's no other reason to not choose them, I guess.
yeah, my thought process here looks at I mean, a lot of it's going to depend on Trevor Lawrence. He's listed as questionable currently for that game, and I think that's going to kind of decide that game because I don't think they have any chance of winning with Mac Jones in there.
No.
But they've played good teams close recently, and two of those have been NFC North teams, in the Packers and the Vikings. So
That's
good
true.
NFC North teams. And I think the Jaguars. I think they're due for an upset sometime soon. I'm gonna stick with the Lions because
Yeah, this doesn't seem like the upset game. I think it might be next week if I looked at their schedule correctly,
especially if they actually fire Doug Peterson at some point soon. But we'll
which they might, depending
Yeah.
on how.
that'll
Just fire him.
that'll be the best news if they can. That'll be the best news of the week if
Oh, yeah,
they do
definitely.
that. Depending on who you are, because again, I don't even hate Doug Peterson.
I don't hate him
but
either. I just think he just needs to be fired.
He
'cause
just
he's
needs to
not-
go.
He's not fitted for that.
He needs
that
to
team.
go. But moving on to the fourth NFC North team in the Vikings at the Titans. Vikings. We just talked about the Jaguars coming off of a sneak out win against the Jaguars. The Vikings did not play great, but I mean they're still winning games.
I do think that the Jaguars are slightly better than the Titans.
Say a little more than slightly, but
Yeah, I'm just trying to be nice to them. Okay,
they
they're
don't need-
both bad. I just think that the Titans are worse.
Titans are tanking. They'll take it.
They're not gonna really care much about this game. So Vikings should win this one, unless they decide to be like, we're gonna go to the playoffs, which that'd be
Titans?
funny.
I mean, again,
That'd be funny.
Will Levis sometimes when he's in there makes that team look better, but that team right now is
It's
not
not
good.
good.
It's not.
So
Admittedly, Calvin Ridley has had some better
Yeah.
performances
Calvin Ridley's
recently,
been showing up.
but yeah, they're still not a good team. So I'm still gonna go with the Vikings. We'll see if the Vikings can kind of get back to form because they've kind of been out of form the past few weeks. They've still been getting wins for the most part, but not pretty. Moving along to the Raiders visiting the Dolphins, though.
Dolphins have been looking better. If they want to try and push for the playoffs, this is the time to start picking up that slack, which they definitely can do. The Raiders are a really bad team right now.
Mm-hmm.
So easy dub for the Dolphins if they really want to get back into this. So I'm going to choose the Dolphins here.
Yeah, I would say it's a must-win for the Dolphins, and I think it's a very, very capable win as well.
Definitely.
I mean, the Raiders just aren't good, especially like their quarterback position is rough. They still don't have a run game. You still don't really have much at receiver. Your real weapon is Brock Bowers. Your defense has a lot of holes. Raiders are just like, I think Raiders more than anyone just want to get to the end of the year.
Gosh, yeah, they definitely do.
So-
They don't want to live for the rest of the season.
Obviously, Dolphins being 3-6, still
in there.
they still have a chance at the playoffs, but also still concerned that they could drop this game because again, 3-6. Obviously, most of it without Tua, but they've not been up to par yet this year. So a Raiders upset is not off the table, but I'm sticking with the Dolphins.
Next game, we got the Rams visiting the Patriots. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm smelling upset here.
Yeah, I don't.
There's something weird about this one.
It's Patriots Rams for some reason is like a weird matchup. I will say, I mean, it probably doesn't help. Patriots just pulled off an upset against the Bears.
They did.
Rams lost to the Dolphins, but I think the Rams are still a much better team.
They are.
I think a lot of the concern or the upset feel is that the Patriots, I feel like, usually play well against the Rams, but I also, in my head, chalk that up to Bill Belichick. I feel like is part of what that is, and I don't think this is the same Patriots team. And I'm not saying Mayo is not a good coach. There's still a lot to see with him because the team is not very good. But
No.
May is playing better week by week. It's going to come down to the offense playing complete football, which they didn't against the Dolphins. I think they can against the Patriots, and that defense kind of getting after Drake May, which I think is very manageable. So I'm going to stick with the Rams. I also kind of had that weird feeling, though, about this game and considered the Patriots, but I'm sticking with the Rams.
Well, I haven't had an upset yet, so here's mine. I'm picking the Patriots. I don't like doing it, but it's a gut feeling. Like I sat here for like a solid 15 seconds, looked at that, I'm like, I smell Patriot victory.
Yeah, there's a few games. That one was a little easier for me to decide, but there's a few games down the stretch that I really just don't know. Including this one, I'm really uncertain about. The Browns visiting the Saints. Browns coming off of a bye. Thank you. Didn't have to watch Browns for a week. That's nice. And then there's the Saints coming off of their first win after a 7-game losing streak. Where do you go with this?
I don't know.
I mean, a lot of it comes down to coaching because
Saints have optimism, especially with that last win. The team seems to be more energized now, especially with Scantling, doing his work over there, stepping up to the plate. Browns, Jameis Winston is just a placeholder.
I
at
mean,
this point. So
they just don't have a
they
quarterback.
don't have a quarterback. They don't have really much anything on offense besides Nick Chubb and maybe a few pieces on offense. Everything else is on a couple pieces on defense, and then just a bunch of nobodies. No offense.
Yeah,
Comparing to the rest of the league, you guys are a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
but I mean, you look at the Saints again. They are coming off of a high, but they're also still very injured.
They are.
You're looking at a lot of question mark. I mean, Derek Carr has been kind of inconsistent at quarterback. You got Chris Olave, who's been concussed several times, and he's still on IR. You're still missing Shaheed. You're missing some corners. They're missing a lot of pieces, and it's kind of poorly affected their play. I mean, you're also again going a week without. This is your second week without Marshawn Lattimore, and I think you also can't chalk this up to it's a divisional game, so you don't get the benefit of, hey, we know who we're playing here as much as you did with the Falcons. So it's
I don't know. This is an interesting one. I think Derek Carr's back, right?
Derek Carr. Yeah, he played last week.
He played last week. I know that for sure, but I didn't know if he.
So he is playing.
Okay.
At least from what I know.
I don't know. This one, Derek Carr is still bad, but he's definitely better than Jameis Winston, if I'm going to be completely honest, especially when it comes to turnovers.
So I have my pick, which is I'm going with the Cleveland Browns because, one, Nick Chubb really helps.
Indeed, yeah.
Two, Jameis Winston, while they're both not, between Jameis Winston and Derek Carr, not great quarterbacks really lately. Jameis for different reasons in that he still embodies that 30-30 season where he'll make big plays and score points, but he'll also turn the ball over a lot. Meanwhile, Derek Carr, when he's not playing well, nothing is working. And I kind of just have more faith that the Browns can at least run the ball down the throats of the Saints, especially again with those injuries. Maybe we see another good week from Cedric Tillman. I don't know. I don't know exactly how that Browns offense is going to, or maybe the Browns offense does win the game. Maybe it'll be the defense, but I kind of like the Browns in this matchup, so I'm going to stick with the Browns.
I'll stick with the Saints, mostly because, I don't know. I trust the Saints more than I trust the Browns.
That's completely fair.
I like some of the pieces on the Browns team, but they do not inspire hope. I mean, neither do the Saints, but the Saints at least have some sort of optimism there. The Browns are just dead and right. So
yeah, I mean, the Saints have made a change, and
the Browns have
worked for a week. So we'll move on to another powerhouse division matchup in the Ravens and the Steelers. Obviously, you know my pick.
Yep.
It's always going to be the Ravens, but as to my reasoning as to why I think they can, I mean, pretty much everyone has had the Ravens as the better team between the two, even though the Steelers have held the division lead pretty much all year. I think this is going to be more of a test for the Steelers. You came off of a pretty solid win against the Commanders, while the Ravens, another division game.
Yeah.
They're always close, but it's never easy to tell. And like you've mentioned, these two teams usually split.
Yeah, they usually do split.
It's hard to say. Steelers, again, really good defense. They're kind of figuring stuff out on offense. Ravens' defense isn't doing great, but Steelers, Ravens usually doesn't come down to like a lot of offense. It's usually a low scoring, like real nitty gritty win for whoever. So I'm interested to see how that's going to go, because even when the Ravens have gone up against those sort of teams, they still put up a good amount of points.
Yes.
And Steelers have not really been that this year. So I think it's interesting, but I think the Ravens have been able to score enough, and how these games usually go, I think if they can put up enough points, I think they can come out with a win, because that's just how these games usually go. It's not usually a high-scoring affair. So
I have the Ravens as well. Trust the Ravens more than I do the Steelers. Steelers offense still needs to prove to me that they can, you know, do more with Russell Wilson. Like I said earlier in the recap, there's something wrong with Wilson in the sense that I just can't trust him right now because I still have the whole Broncos experience still in my head. Maybe after this season it'll kind of go away. We'll see. So yeah, I mean, Ravens have the better offense. Steelers definitely have the better defense. So I'm curious to see how that will work out.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm expecting this to be, even though it hasn't, neither of the teams have really played, well, the Ravens haven't played this way all year. I'm still expecting this to be like a 13-10 sort of game, like really tough, nitty gritty, pound the ball, slow. I don't know what the weather is looking like, but if I wouldn't be surprised if it was a rain game because that's just kind of how it always seems to be with these guys.
Yeah.
It is a day game. I feel like we usually see this game like a lot at night.
Yeah.
They'll have another matchup. So
You also have Deontay Johnson. You stole him from the Panthers, who was
Revenge
originally
game.
a Steelers.
Revenge game. He took about, what is it, 9 weeks, 8-9 weeks out of the division, came back and was like, I'm gonna go over there, screw you guys. So I'd love to see him have a big game. That'd
And
be
also Tomlin was talking a little bit more smack about him too. So
fun. It creates extra drama.
saying that they have more things to worry about besides him on the Ravens offense.
I mean,
True.
I think the Steelers have, I think the Steelers got a lot to worry about. I mean, regardless of how you put it.
Yeah.
I mean-
Still, I just was like, ooh,
It,
fine
yeah,
words right there.
it is, but also, I mean,
It also
come on, look
is.
at who's there, though.
It
Derrick
also
Henry and
is.
Lamar Jackson. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And
Come on.
if Zay
Right.
Flowers can actually catch the ball half the time, then
Say
yeah.
Flowers, Bateman has some good games. Andrews and Likely, if Likely is back.
I forgot. Yeah, likely.
Not sure if he's back. But
Moving on.
yeah, we'll get along.
We have the Jets hosting the Colts. Jets, you guys have probably one more chance, really. Other than that, this season's over. If this is the chance to turn things around, it's now. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Jets technically have the better team. Colts, no quarterback. Their offensive line is probably the best thing on that offense, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I mean, they got Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, yeah, besides Jonathan Taylor, but even he hasn't been able to do a whole lot.
yeah.
So it's not looking too good.
No.
I do believe that the Jets can pull off a win here, especially with, maybe the slight motivation to try and turn things around, but we'll see about that.
Yeah, these two teams, it's going to be an interesting matchup. I don't want to pick the Jets right now because of last week, but looking at what the Colts are right now, they're just a mess. And as long as I like Joe Flacco. Obviously, we saw what he could be last year, but that is not who they have right now in Indianapolis. That offense is just not able to move the ball. The offense is better with Richardson in there, even though Richardson is sloppy.
Sloppy, yeah.
It's better in there because at least it opens stuff up. With Joe Flacco in there, it's your team isn't built to stretch the ball that far downfield, and he doesn't have the chance to do that. So it hurts the run game having him in there. Your pass game is devolved to like 5-yard routes, and it's a lot of ugly and slow, and their defense isn't really built to do amazing. I mean, Kenny Moore is having a good year, but other than that, like, they're not great on defense. It's just Colts are probably one of the worst 4-6 teams this year, and I'm kind of just surprised that they managed to get up to that record because they've been
pretty bad, if I'm not going to be completely honest.
they've been real sloppy most of the year. Or not
they've
even sloppy, just
It's just been
anemic.
bad. Yeah, anemic. I guess
Anemic
is
on
more-
offense.
More,
So, I'm going with the Jets too. So,
yeah. Go Jets, I guess. Then we got another. We're moving on from the new games. We have the Falcons visiting the Broncos in Mile High.
I'm really not sure.
This one's a hard one. I'm going to be completely honest.
It's just such like a weird matchup that I'm like, I don't think of Broncos Falcons that often,
No.
and it's I don't know. I don't know if you have anything. I'll let you go because
You're debating.
I'm just not certain. Both teams have been the Falcons have been inconsistent on offense.
True.
And that's going to be the thing that determines it, is because we've seen the Broncos not really thrive on offense. They usually are winning by keeping their opponents sub 20 points
20.
and not doing too much on offense. The offense is playing better, but not necessarily consistent.
Yes.
And then there's the Falcons, who, I mean, there's just who knows who's going to show up. Is it going to be the Saints the offense against the Saints, the offense against the Buccaneers, the offense against the Steelers? Like, who's it going to be?
Cowboys, yeah.
And so,
I do think the Falcons have the better team, and I'm going to stick with them because my gut is telling me something about this game. Something about the Falcons. I don't know what it is. Also, Broncos tend to do very well at Mile High. I understand that. It's just, while defenses can win you games, they can't win you every game. Also, that loss to the Chiefs might be a little bit of a deterrence, if I'm going to be completely honest, especially with how close you were to knock them off from an undefeated season. I don't know. The Broncos' offense also doesn't do a whole lot, so.
yeah, this, again, it's both teams looking for a bounce back win after bitter division losses. I think
Indeed.
kind of what I'm going to chalk this up to is you have the Falcons, an indoor team in the South, traveling to Mile High in November, where it'll be cold, thin air. Kirk is old. Like, it's...
But he's played in cold before.
He has played... Well, he plays indoors. He played indoors, though, in Minnesota for the most part.
True, but he would always go outside and play his northern rivals.
Yeah, like two. So it's like, it's just not as much. And again, it goes beyond Kirk as well. And I'm only really going with that is because I can go back and forth all day, and it's going to be just who shows up and plays. I like Denver's defense. Again, they've been very good, especially against the pass. They have, I think, the least yards allowed to outside receivers. So like Pat Surtain's been doing very well, and and the likes of them have been doing very well. The run game, they have been covering that pretty well, and I think, again, if they can keep them under 20, I think Bo Nix can make something work and win them a game here, especially if they can get that run game going.
Indeed, yeah.
I can see both teams winning, but
Well, I'm just curious how they're going to stop Bijan Robinson, because he's, as much as he's not on the same level as a lot of running backs when it comes to just consistency, but he's still a really good running back. I do think that he definitely can push the Falcons to a victory. So
they just have to utilize them right, which has been kind of the Falcons' kryptonite, is utilizing their weapons properly. So
yeah, I mean, here and there they will. I think this week will probably be a turnaround, maybe, especially with their loss against the Saints, because they need to start making sure that they actually have that lead, I guess, solidified. So
yeah, I mean, it's not like they're good, not like teams are competing very well against it. Like Buccaneers
No.
are the closest, and they have a lead. But again, I think both teams are going to be playing angry after bitter division losses. But I like the situation for the Broncos playing at home in Mile High in November. I think it works a little bit more in their favor. So
for sure.
move along to the Seattle Seahawks visiting the 49ers, with Seahawks coming off of a bye and the 49ers coming off of a close win.
The Buccaneers, yeah.
Yeah,
I am going to go with the 49ers because they are, I believe it was like 22 something games, like a 22 something record after their bye weeks for the last 2 years. and their bye weeks have always been like mid-season. So 49ers, they're waking up slowly but surely. They got CMC back. Pearsall is doing pretty well. He got his first touchdown this last week. Purdy's still doing Purdy stuff. That defense is still pretty decent. In fact, actually, with that signing of why can I not remember his name?
Khalil Davis?
No, it was someone else recently. Anyways, their defense is still really good, especially with Nick Bosa on the charge. So I am going to go with the 49ers. Also, the Seahawks do not instill any confidence in me. They have been the most mediocre team I've seen in a while.
Yeah, they've been in a slump. I mean, they started off good, but against weak opponents. I think these teams are not as far apart. I mean, obviously record shows it, but I think both teams can be good, and it's just kind of playing together. Like you mentioned, the 49ers, especially in the second half of the season, usually play pretty well, especially coming out of their byes. But I still kind of was leaning towards the Seahawks until I remembered a certain stat from the last time they played, which is that Geno Smith has not beaten the 49ers as a Seahawk. And that was enough for me to go, nope, and I'm going with the 49ers. I was close, and then I remembered that, and I was like,
I was about to ask
not.
you, like, when's the last time do you think the Seahawks have beaten the 49ers?
not since Geno's been starting.
Yep.
So, yeah, so I'm going with 49ers as well, and hopefully Christian McCaffrey does a little bit more, assuming he's healthy.
Hopefully healthy. All right, we only got 3 more games to go over, but we are going to go over the last afternoon slated game. We got the Chiefs visiting the Buffalo Bills.
Why couldn't the Broncos win? Then I could pick the Bills here, but no, I stick by my promise, and I'm picking the Chiefs, and even though it's the Bills' game to lose, I feel like. They got a lot going in their favor. They've been playing well, coming off of a win. I mean, Josh Allen looked again a little iffy last week, but I think if he doesn't let that get to him, play like he's played most of the season, he'll be fine. I'm really gonna be rooting for the Bills, but like I mentioned, will not pick against the Chiefs until they lose. So I'm going with the Chiefs. Fuck me.
I am tired of cowering in fear. I am picking the Bills. I have a death sentence against me now.
I hope the Bills win.
I am picking the Bills because it is in Buffalo. That is not a great fan base to go play against. What is it? I think the Bills have they win more against the Chiefs at Buffalo than anywhere else.
Assuming it's not the playoffs.
Assuming it's not the playoffs, yes. Also, I don't know. Bills tend to beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and then they don't beat them in the postseason. So if we're going to at least continue trends, or at least try to keep a couple trends going, then maybe this way. Also, Chiefs have been playing very sloppy in general. Bills have been inconsistent, but they've been decent. So I don't know. It's a battle of inconsistencies right here. It's who's less inconsistent and who can actually pull away when they need to. So I am picking the Bills. All hail Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean these two go back and forth a lot, and
Yes,
I'm gonna root for the Bills, but I can't pick against the Chiefs until they lose. So here I am.
Yeah.
Moving on to Sunday night, where this will be kind of an interesting one. This one was also kind of hard to decipher because
Indeed.
there's a lot of people going with the Bengals. Betting lines are in favor of the Chargers. Chargers obviously have the better record. They're winning games, while the Bengals they look good. Their offense looks really good against the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Bad, they still are 4-6. So, what do you think? What are you thinking? I feel.
Kitty go meow.
Kitty's gonna go
Kitty's
meow.
go meow. Bengals are gonna beat the Chargers. It's gonna be a good game though.
I sure hope so.
It's Herbert and Burrow, so I'm expecting a bit more offense, specifically from the Chargers side, because the Bengals defense sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it's still the Chargers, and they'll ground pound. But I think the Chargers will be able to move the ball. Their passing game has opened up quite a bit. I mean, Quentin Johnston has been looking a lot better.
He's
this
actually
year.
not dropping the ball.
So, I mean, I am pretty interested to see this. I think Bengals offense and Chargers defense is going to look very different than what you'll see when it comes to Chargers offense, Bengals defense. It's going to be like two very different games.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for it to be interesting. I mean, that's all I ever really hope for in these games is just interesting.
and we're going to be live streaming it,
Yeah, which
so we
we've
want
had
it to be.
bad record of these Sunday night games being interesting. I feel like. I mean, last week I think was like.
Last week was just interesting in its own difference.
I think that was like one of the few
slate.
interesting ones we've had though.
The last good one we've had, I think, was the Steelers and Cowboys. If I'm being completely honest,
That one was even. Maybe it was because of the delay, but
it was
that
the
one-
delay, but it was such a great game.
I liked the Ravens Bills one.
Yeah, that was a good one. I'm just saying that the last good one we had.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, so I don't know. The game is going to be weird because again, the teams are having like, very
Funky.
different issues, and each side of the ball looks very different.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be a tale of two halves and whatever. I'm going with the Chargers. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we can get some guests on this one. Who knows? I know I'm a Chargers and Bengals fan,
Oh,
so maybe.
maybe.
But yes, I'm going with the Chargers. I have no confidence in any of my picks. I'm kind of just throwing darts at a dartboard this week. Yeah, on a Monday night, Battle of Texas.
The Battle of Texas.
Houston,
Texans and the Cowboys.
Houston visiting the Cowboys, who still don't have Dak because he's gone. Bye. Dak and the Cowboys and their entire season. Because,
Yep.
God, if the Texans lose this,
Yeah. Texans should win this one though. I'm picking them.
I don't know how they lose this. And if they do, it's going to be problems. 'Cause,
The Strouds will definitely not be pleased.
I mean, like, what do the Cowboys have right now? What do they have going for them?
Draft pick. That's about it.
Point proven. All right, I rest my case. Yeah, I'm going with the Texans because I don't see your one positive on this, like on your offense, was your passing game. You lose that with Dak out. Your defense, I mean, maybe your passing defense is okay. Mm-hmm. That's about it. Like, there's just not a lot of bright spots on that offense or on that team.
What's there to be happy about, huh?
The fact that you have good players, even though you aren't winning with them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Texans win. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah.
Yep.
Texans win.
That's about it. So
That is.
that is the Week 11 preview. So let us know what you guys think of our picks in the comments. Like and subscribe. Tell us if we're stupid, or tell us if we're smart.
Probably not.
I am definitely not smart, or at least in this sense. We still have the Pick'em leagues in the description of this video. Come join us in that. We will definitely be streaming this Sunday. Hopefully, I'll be rested by then. I sound like a robot right now because I am currently running off of like 5 hours of sleep in like the last 36 to 48 hours. So I need sleep. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you at the live stream or whenever we see you next time. See you.
Bye.